There's a comment calls Michael Point.
All right. All right, you're still under oath, Mr. Point.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Mr. Corner, at the last we spoke, you were talking about evidence that you'd recovered at the scene in Berea with Shelby Shell and the location, the truck, and his purse. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, given the nature of the talks that we've had thus far, I'm going to ask you a leading question so that you don't stray from what I'm trying to pinpoint. Did you recover a gas can as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, where did you recover the gas can from?
From the passenger compartment of the pickup truck.
Of what?
Of the pickup truck, the vehicle that was occupied by Mr. Shell.
By Mr. Shell? Okay. Is that gas can here today?
Yes, sir.
Was there a 41, KSP 41 form that accompanied that gas can?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And from whom did you receive possession of that gas can from?
I took possession of it at the execution of the search warrant.
Okay. Then you later retired as a Kentucky State Police officer, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Who did you take possession from today?
Detective Rodney Sturgill.
Okay. And is that gas can here?
Yes, sir.
Could you retrieve that, sir? Your Honor, I would propose, given the location of its collection, that we revert back to Commonwealth's Exhibit 9 and make this Commonwealth's Exhibit 9.13.
That's fine. That's fine. Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Move for its admittance, Your
All
Honor.
right, the gas can, just discussed, is admitted as Commonwealth's Exhibit 9.13.
Okay.
Keep it in the same collection.
Mr. Corner, I'm going to ask you to stand there for just a moment, and if you would you gather 9.11, 9.13, .12, and 9.9, sorry. Okay, let's start with 9.9. If you could remove that from its package.
Sock inside of a plastic bag. It's been wrapped up with cellophane wrap. And inside of it is a black nylon bag of some sort.
Okay. Could you remove the black nylon bag, sir?
Yes, sir.
And what is inside of that bag?
Loose coins, change, wheat pennies, different sort of change, nickel, but majority of it is pennies and wheat pennies.
Okay. Now, given your investigation that you were conducting back in 2013, did you believe at that time that this item of evidence that has now been admitted, Did you believe that it had any connection to the case that you were investigating?
Yes, sir. It seemed to me to match the description of the property that was stolen from the safe at Ronnie King's residence. There was also a Yocum Creek Coal Company script.
What's Yocum Creek?
Yeah, it was a mining company near the town of Everett,
Everett's?
Kentucky, and Harding County.
Okay, is that the same location where the victim Ronnie King was murdered?
Yeah.
If you would, before we move on, go ahead and wrap that back up and place that back in the bag. 9.9. And did you state that was recovered from the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Let's move to 9.11, if you would. Recover that piece of evidence and remove from its container, the bag.
Black nylon bag.
And what's within that bag?
There's a plastic Ziploc bag with what appears to be some broken jewelry, maybe a men's Kentucky cluster with some loose diamonds.
What do you mean by broken?
In pieces.
Okay. Okay. Now, going back to your investigation in 2013.
Stuff in the bag, sir?
Oh yeah, if there's more, absolutely.
There's a gold necklace. Another piece of a gold color substance that's been beaten. A ring. A paper clip. And several other pieces of gold jewelry. Maybe some ruby, I don't know if it's earring, but ruby stones. All the jewelry's been damaged. The gold has been damaged. I can see some strike marks on it.
Okay. Referring then back to your investigation in 2013 into the murder of Ronnie King, did this evidence seem to relate to the investigation that you had conducted up to this point when the collection of this evidence took place?
Yes, sir, it does.
How so?
Some of the family members said there was jewelry and in the safe. Ernie Shell and James Collins stated that the jewelry had been beaten with a hammer to keep it from being identified. He had this on his person at the time of the arrest.
Who's he?
Shell.
Okay. If you would then go ahead and place that back within the container, the black bag, and then back in the bag that's labeled. I believe that's 9.11. If you could, sir, if we could move to 9.13, you could remove the contents of that bag.
It's a red gas can
Where was this recovered from, sir?
from the back seat of the pickup truck.
And the pickup truck with specificity was?
The one that was occupied by Shelby Shell at the time of the arrest.
Okay. Now, traveling back in time to 2013, during the course of your investigation, did you believe that this item here, when recovered, had any connection to your investigation as it was unfolding up to that point?
Yes, at the time I thought it could be attached to the arson of the residence. At that time I didn't know if there was accelerants used or not. So I took it in case I needed it.
All right. Go ahead and place it back in its bag. And then lastly, 9.12, if you could remove the contents of that bag.
It's a phone case that was around a white Samsung cell phone, and also the SDHC card that was, I think, removed from it.
Okay. Where was that phone recovered from?
From the person of Shelby Shell at the time of his arrest.
Okay. And once recovered, I don't mean immediately thereafter, but at some point after its recovery, did you send that phone anywhere?
Yes, I sent it to the Electronic Crimes Division for analysis. I obtained a search warrant for it to be gone through.
Okay.
And subsequently, they rendered a report
Okay.
of the contents of the phone.
And then did they thereafter send the phone back?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right, cross-examination.
Yes, Mr. Cornick, you did send the phone off to be tested, correct?
Yes, sir, I did.
You did not send item 9.13, the gas can, to be tested, did you?
No, sir.
And you also did not send 9.9 or 9.11. You did not send those items to be tested, did you?
You have to refresh my memory. What's 9.9?
9.9 is the coins.
Okay. No, sir, I did not send those on.
9.11 would be the jewelry. 9.11 would be the jewelry.
No, sir, I did not send that off.
That's all the questions I have now.
All right. Any further questions of Mr. Cornett on this matter? Any
No,
further?
no.
All right, you may step down, Mr. Cornett. Subject to recall. Does anyone need a break? Okay, all right. Who's your next witness?
Commonwealth calls Jeff Rogers.
Jeff Rogers, all right. All right, Mr. Rogers, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that any testimony you give in this trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Have a seat. Please speak loudly and clearly so we can all understand what you say. All right, Mr. Lee, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, could you please state your name and introduce yourself to the jury?
Jeff Rogers
Where do you work, Mr. Rogers?
for the Kentucky State Police Electronic Crime Branch.
And how long have you worked there?
It's a little over 5 years.
And what is your title at the Electronic Crimes Branch? What's your position?
Forensic computer examiner.
Okay. What is a forensic computer examiner?
We examine digital media, computers, cell phones, computer hard drives for evidence to prove or disprove claims of criminal activity.
And you did state cell phones, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's a part of what you analyze?
Yes, sir.
What is your specific title and profession? What do you specifically typically analyze concerning cell phones?
If a phone is supported by our tools, we extract the data off of it and then use another tool that actually parses out the data in a readable form. So it's the data stored on the cell phone.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach the ledge and then thereafter approach the witness?
Yes.
Sir, I've handed you what's been marked Commonwealth's Exhibit 9.12. Could you remove the contents from that package?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is there?
It is a Samsung Galaxy S3 cell phone.
Okay. Have you ever seen that phone before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in what capacity, how did you receive that phone? Or how did you see it for the first time?
It had been logged into our evidence vault, and when it came time to do the exam, I went and signed it out of the evidence vault, did my extraction, and then signed it back in.
Okay. Was that in relation to a specific investigation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you aware of who that investigation was concerning at that point in time?
Yes, sir.
Who was that?
The victim or
Either or.
the victim, Ronnie King.
Ronnie King? Okay. Now, when you extracted the data from that cell phone, can you go ahead and describe how you did that? What did you do?
You actually have to power on the device and then go into the settings and set it up to where it will allow your tool to access the internal data. And after that was done, then it's hooked by a cable to what we call a UFED Touch. It's a universal forensic extraction device, and it extracts the data from the phone, and I put it on a flash drive, and then it hooked it to my computer, opened it with a tool called the physical analyzer, and then that's what parses the data out in a readable format.
Okay. Now, is this the first time you'd ever performed an extraction of that kind?
No.
How many times do you think you've performed such an extraction?
I typically, up until this year, probably do 100 phones a year.
100 phones a year?
Yeah, give or take a few.
Okay. So you have experience with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the report that's generated from the extraction of a phone, is that typically something that's small in size, or is it large? What's the typical extraction?
This one, in a printable format, it would probably be hundreds, if not thousands of pages.
Okay. And is it your job to then go through that data, those pages, and render a report concerning the information contained therein?
Yes.
Okay. If you can describe that process better, please, by all means, do so, because I'm completely out of my comfort zone concerning the extraction of data from phones. So what do you do with that?
Typically, what I would do first is after it's parsed out and I look at it and see that it's in readable form, then I would generate a report, a full report of everything that the tool obtained. Then I would go back through it, and if there was what I term items of interest, then I would bookmark those and possibly put those in a separate report or make note of them.
Okay. Did you find such items of interest when you extracted the information off of what has been labeled 9.12, a cell phone that was recovered from the person of Shelby Shell?
Yes.
Okay, what were those items of interest?
There was some location information in the form of what the Android operating system calls journeys, where there was like going through Google Maps to find the route to a certain place. There was 2 of those on the date in question. One of them began on I-75 southbound, just south of Mount Vernon, and it went to an intersection on US 119 near, I think the other highway was 987. Then 30 minutes later, there was another one that went from the Love's truck stop there to where you get off I-75 to get on the Cumberland Parkway, I think is what it's called. And it went from there to the same location.
Okay. Now, with your tools at your disposal at the Kentucky State Police Crime Lab, are you able to tell who searched for that data?
No.
No, okay. But you can tell that that data was searched on this phone?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as you're looking through this phone, were you able to find or discover operating profiles, or for lack of a better term, any type of identifying information of someone that may use that phone?
Yes.
Okay, and what type of information was that?
It was information in the accounts on the phone. There was several, and there was a few with the name Shelby Shell associated with a Gmail account.
Okay, so you found profiles of Shelby Shell on this phone, which has been listed as 9.12. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Continuing on then with the scope of your investigation, were you able to, or do you have the capacity to investigate how a phone's been utilized concerning, let's say, searches, search queries, things of that nature?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you find anything that you noted as or highlighted as information that you had previously talked about, how you sometimes do when you see something that may be of interest, you highlight in your reports?
I don't know if it was actually highlighted or not, but yes, there were Google searches for how to melt gold, how to melt jewelry.
Okay. Do you know when those searches took place?
I do not recall the date. I do recall that it was after the date of the offense that was, as it was given to me. It was
Okay.
after February the 18th.
So you said earlier you were talking about a route that you had said had taken place on the date at issue. And were you referring to February the 18th?
Yes,
So on February the 18th, someone, you can't state who, but someone placed in information to create a route from, I believe you said I-75 at Mount Vernon or south thereof to 119, is that correct?
yes, sir.
Okay. 119, is that a road that goes through Harlan County, Kentucky?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you're stating that thereafter, after February the 18th, you discovered information where that phone had been utilized to search how to melt gold, how to melt jewelry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, we know that it's after February the 18th. Do you recall if it was in close proximity to February the 18th? Was it 2 months after? Was it just a couple of
No, it
days
was-
after?
Days,
Days.
a week or so,
Okay.
maybe.
Okay. Now, concerning the route information that you discussed, are you aware through your training, through your knowledge in your position of how such a route could come to be logged or kept within a phone like this?
Yes.
Okay, and how's that?
There's several different ways. One of the ways is like anybody who's used Google Maps, you can type in an address and it will prompt you, to take you there from your current location, or you can put in a new location to come from. But I did test that part of it, and that didn't happen because the result of that search, if you typed in US 119 Pineville, it will take you from the locations that it was set to start from to the very beginning of US 119 Pineville. This route went on for some distance to this other intersection. Another way that this can occur is by dropping a pin where you want to go to, or typing in the GPS coordinates, and then you can tell it to take me to that pin or that GPS coordinates from my current location or from whatever location I choose.
So you can't tell at any point in time who's using the phone. Is that
No,
correct?
Correct.
But you can, from your investigation, state that Shelby Shell had profiles on this phone.
Yes, sir.
You can, from this investigation, state that someone searched for how to melt gold and how to melt jewelry.
Yes, sir.
And those search queries occurred days after February the 18th, 2013.
Yes, sir.
And you cannot identify who would have placed into this phone a journey from point A, which you described as I-75 south of Mount Vernon, to point B, 119. Is that correct? You can't describe who did that?
That is correct.
But you can identify that occurred. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that occurred on February the 18th, 2013?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions. Pass the witness.
Cross.
It's 1,800 pages. It's 1,800 pages.
So like the stuff you're referring to? Okay. have questions, sorry.
Mhm.
Mr. Rogers? So, one of the questions people may have, I have just sitting there, if you type in that location information, if you search for a location and it leaves a journeys report on the phone, that's not the same as you went to that location, right?
Correct,
That means somebody searched it. It doesn't mean they went there.
correct,
And you can't even tell if they went there from the phone, right?
correct.
You might use cell tower data for that, but that's not what you're analyzing.
Correct.
Another part of the I want to call it a Cellbrite report. Is that an accurate title?
Yeah, it's extraction report utilizing the Cellbrite hardware and software.
For that report, you can ask for certain forms of information. So you can ask for text messages, for example.
Yes,
And you can ask for like messenger type messages or MMS messages, does that
Yes.
sound right? Like, if they're not using just the text program, there's other messages on the phone and you can collect those also.
yes,
And you can collect phone calls in and out
yes,
and like the length of the call and the number and where that call number is from. Like if it's a number, like I called to London, you would have a report that says, this phone called from Berea to London, this is the number that they called, and this is the time of the call, correct?
no, you would,
That guy.
no, you would get the to and from phone number and the time that the phone call was made, date and time, and the length of the call, but not a location.
So, go back to that a little bit. You also can pull emails from the phone if it has an email account on it.
Yes,
And you can pull photos.
yes,
And you can pull photos from, say, a Facebook profile if it was attached to that phone. Potentially.
possible.
Also downloaded to the phone.
If it was downloaded to the phone and saved locally, yes.
Okay. There's a lot of information you can pull off the phone. One of the things you can't do is you can't pull some recording of actual phone conversations. That's not something that's on the phone, right?
Correct.
In this case, you did pull text messages, and there is a report with text messages and messenger style messages, correct?
Yes,
And in this case, there are some photos that were extracted from the phone.
I recall some photos and maybe some deleted videos.
And that's another thing. It does also report on deleted text messages or deleted emails, correct?
It's possible, yes.
Can you guarantee 100% that it gets every deleted conversation? Just,
Not 100%, no.
it's a
no.
function of the software.
Yes.
Okay. So, I won't be reading. Let me ask. These two items.
Yes, he has the full report. It's on a disc, because it's cell phone, so I think it's major. That's why they do it. If we're gonna do it, I think we should do the whole thing.
I just want to be able to refer to it sometime later, so if it's all
Yeah,
admitted to this.
yeah.
Okay. You prepared a report and you brought that on a disk today, correct?
It's on a flash
On a
drive.
flash drive, okay. So it would be, this is just one, I think, of the reports included in that flash drive. It's safe to say that there are hundreds of pages of material in there. Is that right?
At least,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in the interest of saving paper and efficiency, I'm gonna move to admit the flash drive into evidence. It could be combination exhibit 1 or defense exhibit 1, whatever you want.
Your Honor, we don't have any outstanding objection, but may we approach this to inform the court of some issues?